If you were hoping that the situation surrounding graphics card shortages was going to get better and that you might be able to get an RTX 3080 without trying too hard or paying insane prices, well, unfortunately I have some bad news for you. Let's discuss that in this video. Hey, if you enjoy content like this, drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and smash that bell so you never miss another video. Hey, what is going on guys? Danny here, welcome back to the channel and I hope you've all been doing well. Recently, Nvidia held their annual GPU technology conference, showcasing new developments and many of the other ventures Nvidia does business in. This wasn't a conference focusing on gaming graphics cards or anything of the sort, but instead was geared towards AI, the automotive industry, robotics, workstation graphics tech, servers, and more. So I'm sure nobody was expecting them to make any big announcements introducing an RTX 3080 Ti or 3050, as much as we all would have liked that. So if you're interested in all of that stuff, there was some pretty interesting topics shown. The AI demos always have my interest. Then definitely check out the conference. I'll have a link to the video in the video description. What I wanted to talk about was a statement made by Nvidia during their investor day, which coincided with GTC. Important information from this announcement was posted on their official newsroom blog site. In this blog, there was an unpleasant statement made by Nvidia CFO, Call It Crest, which said overall demand remains very strong and continues to exceed supply while our channel inventories remain quite lean. We expect demand to continue to exceed supply for much of this year. We believe we will have sufficient supply to support sequential growth beyond Q1. So Nvidia is just straight up saying at this point that because demand for PC hardware and GPUs especially just seems to be at an insanely high level, their supply will not be able to keep up with it, no matter how much they ramp up production. The worrisome part is that this dire situation is going to continue for the majority of this year, which is quite displeasing to hear because I know there were many folks within the PC gaming community who are trying to hold out with whatever they currently had in hopes for seeing the situation improve in, later this summer or, late 2020 or perhaps during the holiday season. Back in the middle of January of this year, there was also a statement put out by Nvidia that they had expected the supply to remain lean for at least Q1. This didn't necessarily mean that supply was undeniably going to get better after Q1, but at least there was a bit of optimism and some hope for people that perhaps after that we'll start to see more GPUs come into stock gradually and see them readily be available for consumers. Though now it looks like the situation is most definitely not going to be improving for quite some time. In fact, it actually seems to be getting worse. In the last couple of weeks, I had made some trips down to my local Canada Computers and Memory Express to pick up some stuff, both of which were well-known brick and mortar stores for PC parts and peripherals, here in the maple syrup land, of course. Since the launch of the RTX 30 series, they had allowed people to put themselves on backorder for a specific GPU from whichever AIB of their choice, and gradually they would be fulfilling orders as cards would be coming in. They usually wouldn't get a skid full of graphics cards, but from their usual supply trucks, there would be a handful, and that would allow them to slowly get through orders. So it was at least something. You could at least count on them to get your order, and if you had managed to get a back order, this offered some sort of assurance that, hey, you'll be able to get a GPU at some point whenever it comes in. I had a buddy of mine who had placed an order with their local CC for an RTX 3070. I believe this was in mid-December, and they had managed to get the card after 4 weeks. So even though there was a long period of time between actually placing their order and then getting the card, in the current market circumstances, that's actually not too bad of a wait. However, now I've been told that they haven't been getting cards at what was considered typical for their shipments, and both Canada Computers and Memory Express have stopped taking GPU back orders altogether because they just don't know when they'll be getting cards, and they have no concrete information to go on in regards to their next shipments. It's only going to be getting worse, and they have no information when they'll expect it to get better. So at my local CC, what they're doing now is that it's pretty much a first come first served situation because of the random shipments. If it just so happens that they manage to get a card or two in and you're in at the same time, then you'll have a chance to buy a GPU until you got to go into a wrestling match with someone else who laid eyes on it at the same time as you did. But what's also unfortunate to hear is that people have been reporting that because these retailers haven't been getting stock reliably, they have received cancellation notices for their back orders. Imagine having to wait a month or so only to find out that, yeah, you're still not going to be getting a GPU after all that. That would be extremely infuriating. However, I'm not surprised in the least bit to hear that this is actually happening. On the /r hardware subreddit, a user reported that a Dutch retailer had cancelled their pre-order of an MSI RTX 3080 Gaming X Trio graphics card because they had gotten word directly from the manufacturer that this SKU was discontinued, which obviously is out of their control. Last month, I remember Video Cards posting an article on their site stating that MSI had quietly added 2 new SKUs to their lineup. These were the Gaming Z Trio and Gaming Trio Plus. At a first glance, they're not that much different when compared compared to the regular RTX 3080 Gaming X Trio, but there was some slight modifications made to the backplate, such as more vent holes and some variations in boost figures. However, think about this: if AIBs themselves are having to face chip shortages, wouldn't this force them to just focus on prioritizing the premium models in their product stack for better margins? I wouldn't be surprised if all you see come into stock are Asus Strix GPUs as opposed to the cheaper tough variants. So who knows, this could be an opportunity for the AIBs to push the more expensive models. You know, gotta make the most of what you can. In a previous video, I had mentioned that AIBs such as MSI and Asus were giving out messages that there was another price hike on its way due to the GPU shortages. And if you go and check prices at your local retailer, I'll bet you that since the last time, they'll have most definitely increased. Over at Neo Canada, the RTX 3080 Gaming X Trio is listed for a whopping $1,500. When I had purchased this card back in September, this was going for around $1,100, which at that time, I already thought was kind of a hefty markup, but now this is way worse. So we knew that the situation was already abysmal because of how high demand was. There was great interest in the new series of GPUs since the previous generation was so disappointing and AMD was absent. Therefore, many PC gamers from the get-go were looking to get their hands on a new card. Then we had people who were buying them up using bots to flip them on eBay to make a quick buck. And then to top it all off, another crypto mining boom occurred, which, speaking of, it's like every time I make a video discussing the GPU market, Bitcoin and Ethereum are trending at new all-time highs. And it looks like that's the case again, where Bitcoin is sitting at around 63K and ETH is around 2.4K. All happening during a global health crisis, which further just hampers on the supply chain. Due to this, now I'm not in any way expecting to see GPUs be readily available in stock, let alone be sold near MSRP for the remainder of the year. Who knows how long this is going to continue for? I really don't have a clear picture of when things will improve. It could be as early as spring of next year or late 2022, and at that point, we'll all be talking about next generation graphics cards, and people will be just saying, you know, wait for the RTX 4080 or wait for the 7800 XT. When it comes to alternatives such as buying an older used graphics card, you can forget about that as well, since people are taking advantage of the situation right now and are selling these cards for what they used to sell for new or even higher. Despite that, they'll still sell out because either someone really desperate will just cave in or a miner will have another card to add to their setup. Secondly, buying a new entry-level GPU like a 1650 is also tough since many people would have the same thought, and it's just causing the demand to be shifted there. So they're getting sold out really fast and their prices are still high either way. So you can't really win in this GPU market no matter how you look at it. But if you were still set on trying to attain a decently priced gaming rig, there's still some hope for you yet. I recently made a video talking about why buying a pre-built system in 2021 is actually more sensible as opposed to trying to build one yourself because of the GPU shortages. So I highly recommend checking that video out. Link for that will be in the video description. I hope you guys found this video to be informative and helpful. Let me know your thoughts down below. Check out the video description on ways to support the channel and for my other videos. If you guys are interested in more content like this, then make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.